Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sehat, salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Excellencies, Program and Production Director of RRI, Pak Mistam, terima kasih atas joinnya dan our collaboration. I talked to your President Director that we will have more close gathering with RRI, especially for enhance the issues of the climate change and of course renewable energy in our countries. And Excellencies, Economy Affairs Officer, Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, Pak Anies Zaman. You. And National Expert of ESCAP, Bu Herlin. And all of the representing central and local government, and of course my team, Pak Hendra as a Director for Energy Conservation, and all of the team here. So happy good morning for all, and welcome to Bali. And I would like to warm welcome you and expressing our gratitude to have you here. And this is our honor also to become a part of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union Summit in this year, in 2024, with the theme of the Indonesia Climate Change Mitigation Effort and the energy sector. And of course, this event is really meaningful to make you realize that our Indonesia, our nation, also all of the world is impact getting the more huge impact of the climate change. So we think that Indonesia have a big population, and we have a lot of fossil fuel that utilize in our daily activity, and of course it would be increase more higher temperature that on the most area of Asia, especially Myanmar, Thailand, India, Bangladesh, Laos, and so on, and of course Singapore. You can see that we have experienced the reaching of our temperature above 37 degrees Celsius. And this condition make an impact of daily life, including the water scarcity. And of course, in east part of Indonesia, we are also have a declining of health quality because many people cannot reach the clean water. That's the basic needs that would be addressed in our ecosystem, and this is our challenge also to make the climate change is more adaptive. So we have a responsibility to address this impact of the climate change and to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, and of course to make the environmental also to be sustainable. And regarding to our national commitment, of course, we have a target of 358 million of CO2 by 2030. And this would be addressing 5 strategies. We must reduce our emission by developing the renewable energy, of course. And we must make the energy efficiency in all of the aspects of our circumstance. And we must use the low carbon fuel. We have to reduce our coal uses and make more innovation in clean coal technology, and of course the mining reclamation. And the energy efficiency, it could affect 32% of reduction of the emission, just if we do so much in the efficiency energy. So we can address the energy management system, efficiency of household application, the street lighting, and also the use of the electric vehicle. So we think that renewable energy include the development of renewable energy in the power plant. We addressing in the RUPTL. This is a national strategy of our electricity. And we address more on the solar power plant, hydropower plant, and also biofuel, direct utilization of the biomass like a co-firing, and another renewable energy such as geothermal and wind energy and so on. So in the energy sector mitigation action, we have addressing the support of the economic value of carbon. So the opportunities and access for the carbon trading between countries, it needs to be open, and of course to boost the economic from surplus mitigation action. It's like pity, but we are hope that the carbon market, especially in Indonesia, could be addressed more on the our system. We still have many discussion with the Ministry of Environmental Department that we must talk about the joint mechanism of carbon trading and so on. So it is on our renewable energy law that we have now, and we are also addressing that our NDC document, it should be aligned with the to avoid the 1.5 degree of the global temperature rise scenario. And even more, we are now have start talking about the second NDC. So that's why many people around Indonesia, it's now have realized that more CO2 is coming. So there is a second NDC discussion right now among the government. So we need more effort to reduce the emission. If you see the roadmap of the net zero emission in our energy sector, we have committed that Indonesia will achieve net zero emission in 2060. So it is a big challenge that you can see that we targeted the emission reduction from the energy sector. It's quite big, and you can see that the industrial sector have more on the CO2 emission. The second place would be transportation, and then the third one will be residential, and the last will be commercial. So what we can do with this increasing of the CO2 over here, we want to have many strategy. We have many strategy to develop renewable energy, and of course we have also moratorium on coal-fired power plant, and we have scenario of to make a coal phase down, and also the there is one of JETP program to have a coal retirement. So it would be a big challenge that we must reduce our coal in our power plant, in our industry, but we must realize that Indonesia is still developing, and the last several days, there is an announcement that our manufacturing industry is stuck. No development on the manufacturing industry. So the needs of the industry, it should goes to the manufacturing industry, to many industry, and then we can add more activity on the industrial development, so we can use more energy, we can develop our countries, but in the other side, we must lowering our coal utilization. And of course, in the next, after 2030, we are addressing also the source like hydrogen and ammonia, and also the implementation of the CCS and carbon capture storage utilization technology, and would be our next strategy. And of course, in our net zero potential, maybe you can go to the next, please. Yeah, we have addressing that many resources in Indonesia, we calculated to be 3.6 terawatt. So that's a huge potential of renewable. And it would become from solar, hydro, bioenergy, geothermal energy, and also ocean energy. But until now, we have do not have a target on the ocean energy. We still, there is still many studies on the ocean power, but we have a big potential also in Indonesia. You can see that the ocean, we have a potential of 63 gigawatt of potential, but there is no utilization yet. So currently, the realization of the primary energy mix is stand up 13.3%. So it is far away from our target because we want to have 23% of renewable energy mix in the grid and on the year of 2025. So we still have 13%. It's a big task also for us to increase the mix of the renewable energy. And if we're looking at the investment opportunities on our RUPTL, maybe you can go to the next, please. So we have more promote the investment. So we want to have more business, and we have more investment on the renewable energy. So in our policy, we have a breakthrough. We have just in the last 2 months, we deliver a new ministerial regulation that we want to increase investment on renewable energy. It is, we have need of the 55.18 billion US dollar if we want to achieve the goal of the net zero emission, and just until 2030 we need investment on almost more than 55 billion US dollar. And if we do this investment, especially we creating the jobs, we creating the industrial manufacturing industry in Indonesia, and we can create more than 281,000 new green jobs. So with this investment, we can reduce the greenhouse gas emission until 89 million ton of CO2. And we have a new regulation just published, not yet have been socialized. This is my first time to share to you, because in the tomorrow we will have socialization, this ministerial regulation with the Ministry of Industry and also Ministry of Investment in order to accelerate and develop of our electricity infrastructure while still prioritizing the use of domestic products. It is necessary to regulate the use of domestic product for the development of electricity infrastructure. So this concept, maybe it's more I just share to you. We have recalculated our local content issues. So we recalculated of the concept how we develop the project of renewable energy. So we still have Ministry of Industry. In the left-hand side, you can see the solar panel over there. So that is the local content that regulated by Ministry of Industry. Then you can see the module of PV, which is, this is the example, yeah. This is the example how how we calculated the local content issues, because this is the bottleneck of our investment in renewable. So in this area, so I show you, this is the area for the Ministry of Industry. There is a local content calculation, local content analysis at here. We still follow the regulation of the Ministry of Industry. And then what we do is, in the Ministry of Energy, we calculated the services, we calculated the use of the local people to be part of the project. So this is the part that we have a local content project for the renewable energy and plus the investment. So the right-hand side is the investment from the international or from the national. So we can mostly want to make more easy to invest in Indonesia. So we can go over here. We can talk more detail about this, but tomorrow, tomorrow in Jakarta. So the opportunity to doubling back to the issues of our energy efficiency, we need a collaboration with many parts, and of course for the from the COP28, we encourage the increase of collective global target of the energy efficiency by twice compared to the previous decade. So doubling the energy efficiency means that we need a massive implementation, very massive implementation of the energy efficiency measure in industry, industrial sector, transportation sector, commercial sector, and the household sector. Consequently, significant efforts are always required, and more robust international collaboration and support are crucial and to reach our goals. And regarding to our regulations, please go to the next one, please. We have a regulation number 33 on the energy conservation. So this is that we have energy management mandatory that have been implemented for energy users, and then we will also expand the mandate to implementing the energy management system in the industrial sector. And of course, in the building sector, we're strengthening the implementation of the building code and promote the adoption of the green and smart building. So in this morning, I'm also addressing to the media that it is very important that we must know and we must realize the energy efficiency. It's really needs to be done. So it is approximately we have a 700 commercial building, but it's not yet have been audited. And I think the implementing this mandate to make efficient energy management system is important. So we have also implementing the energy minimum performance standard. It's called MAPS, and the label. So regarding to the energy efficiency for applicants, the last year we have introduced seven minimum energy performance standard MAPS, and labeling for the air conditioner, fans. So I don't know, this fans is the energy efficiency. We have the label or not? So we have seven. We have seven: air conditioning, fans, rice cooker, refrigerator, LED lamps, and also refrigerate display cases, RDC, and TVs. So this is must be realized in our lifestyle. We must, if you buy something, if you buy the electronic products, you must see the label. Yeah, you must see the label of 5-star. So please choose the 5-star labeling product if you buy electronic product. Okay, the fan, okay, rice cooker, AC, yeah, air conditioning, and refrigerator, LED lamps, and also RDC and TV. Okay, yeah. So I think this significant massive implementation of the maps, we are also encouraging the government. So to promote energy saving appliance by implementing the e-catalog. So the next one, we will addressing all of the maps to be part of in the e-catalog. So once local government or state government, pemerintah pusat, it must choose the energy efficient product. So the next one, we will also have support for the energy transition mechanism. We have Presidential Regulation 112. It is very much implemented regulation. We have this regulation to make also a good price for the electricity. And developing the industrial growth and to support the climate action, we want to encourage more deeper on how we can create together. So the environment, social, and governance, it's to set a corporate behavior standard also. And we want to have more engagement on our environment, on our social circumstance, and also go talking to the government. And the local government especially, and the other among social organization. And to utilize the renewable energy and energy conservation, not only to produce clean energy for local community, but we have also create new jobs and contributing to reduce GHG emission. So I'm really happy to be part of you today. As a renewable energy and energy efficiency significantly contribute to achieving our energy and climate goals, strengthening to expanding the innovation technology, especially for energy efficiency and integration of renewable energy is one of our key priorities in the upcoming next year. And I'm also confident that this will coordinated initiative and this event can also to be a great momentum and the opportunities to participate and to force our energy focus, especially in our partnership. By optimizing our strength, we can make significant move towards a sustainable and inclusive energy future. So thank you so much for your listening and have a good day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu Enia. Would you please remain on the stage, please? And now I would like to kindly invite to the stage Bapak Hendra Iswahyudi, the Director of Energy Conservation, Mr. Anis Zaman, Economic Affairs Officer ESCAP, and Ibu Herlin Herlianika, the National Expert of ESCAP, to launch the Indonesia's National Cooling Action Plan. NCAP is a collaboration between MEMR and ESCAP, which is expected to become a systematic roadmap for cooling sector action plan in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for the launching of the National Cooling Action Plan. You may take a photo. Thank you very much. So we invite Mr. Anis Zaman to be seated back, please. And for the next agenda, we will continue with the launching of the Chiller Energy Performance Audit Guidelines. We already have on the stage Ibu Herlin, the Chair of Chiller Technical Working Group, and I would like to invite Bapak Inyoman Suamir, the Vice Chair of Technical Working Group, and Ibu Nani Rahmawati, the Program Manager of Class B, to launch the chiller audit guidelines. Chiller Energy Performance Audit Guidelines will provide comprehensive guidance in conducting energy audit for chillers to report potential energy saving opportunities in chiller refrigeration systems. So please, would you please stay closer to take the picture? Bisa maju, maybe please go ahead. Mungkin Ibu Neni guys, ya, geser di situ. Ya. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for the launching of the Chiller Energy Performance Audit Guidelines. Sudah. Thank you very much untuk Ibu Enia, Pak Hendra, Ibu Herlin, Pak Sumir, and Bu Nani. Please be seated back. Thank you so much. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, because our event is in collaboration with Radio Republik Indonesia, and I would like to kindly invite Bapak Mistam to give a short remark for this event, please. Maybe a very short remarks. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bapak Mistam.
Terima kasih. Selamat pagi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Om Swastiastu, salam sejahtera untuk kita semuanya. Good morning everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to meet you in here, dalam acara yang sangat luar biasa sekali ini. Nah, saya tidak menggunakan bahasa Inggris, saya kira, tetapi saya biar lebih friendly dengan bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu semuanya, saya akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Ya. Yang saya banggakan, Ibu Profesor Dr. Engineering Enia Lestiani Dewi, Direktur Jenderal Energi Baru, Terbarukan, dan Konservasi Energi. Ibu sangat luar biasa, tadi sambutan dan presentasinya ini menjadi bahan yang sangat luar biasa sebetulnya untuk kita berikan informasi dan edukasi kepada publik di Indonesia. Dan juga saya hormati juga ada Ibu Nani Rahmawati, ada Bapak Hendra Wahyudi, Direktur Konservasi Energi, dan Mr. Franks, good morning Mr. Frank, dan juga ada Bu Evi, ada Pak Joni, Mas John Respati, dan NGO semuanya, serta hadirin semuanya yang saya banggakan. Pada kesempatan hari ini saya mengucapkan terima kasih sekali. Kenapa? Dengan Ibu Dirjen, kenapa? Dan tim tentu saja demikian. Kenapa? Karena baru pertama kali ini kita join kolaborasi antara Kementerian SDM dengan Radio Republik Indonesia selama saya di Direktorat Program dan Produksi. Ini saya kira menjadi sebuah opportunity dan masa depan yang sangat bagus sekali untuk kita kembangkan bersama-sama. Kenapa? Karena informasi tentang keenergian, tentang lingkungan, tentang climate, tentang disaster, sebetulnya di Radio Republik Indonesia itu sudah lama sekali kita gaungkan. Dan itu kita gaungkan sejak tahun 2008 saat penyelenggaraan General Assembly ABU di Bali juga, Ibu. Dan waktu itu Direktur Utama, Presiden Direktur Parni Hadi punya ide yang cemerlang, saya kira, dengan meluncurkan program Green Radio. Dan amplifikasi program tentang Green Radio itu tidak hanya di Jakarta, tapi di seluruh Indonesia. Nah, tidak sebatas program Green Radio, setelah itu kita punya program Blue Oceans, dan sejak tsunami di Aceh dan di Donggala, Palu, kita secara intensif meluncurkan program kentongan, program mitigasi bencana, dan juga berkembang, kemudian kita fokus kepada climate change. Nah, program ini saya kira Radio Republik Indonesia tidak bisa berdiri sendiri, tetapi mengajak berbagai pihak yang punya visi dan misi serta punya dream yang sama untuk mewujudkan saving life ya, media ya. Saving life itu kan bagaimana keberadaan media ini menjaga lingkungan. Nah, tentu saja kita mengajak berbagai pihak, Ibu, dan tidak hanya sebatas di dalam negeri, tapi di luar negeri juga kita kolaborasi dengan EBU. Dan tentu saja program EBU hari ini penyelenggaraannya diselenggarakan di Bali. Dan program EBU ini diselenggarakan setiap tahun, dan tahun sebelumnya diselenggarakan di Maldives dengan program yang sama. Terima kasih atas kolaborasi ini. Saya sangat berharap sekali program-program untuk memberikan edukasi, informasi, enlightenment kepada publik tidak hanya sebatas diselenggarakan hari ini, tetapi ada program-program yang selanjutnya. Bisa jadi di setiap provinsi kita selenggarakan yang mengajak berbagai publik di sana, NGO, masyarakat, sehingga masyarakat sangat peduli dengan perubahan iklim dan sangat peduli tentang lingkungan dan peduli tentang kebencanaan di Indonesia ini. Sekali lagi, kami, Direktur Utama, tadi Ibu mengucapkan salam kepada Ibu dan Bapak Ibu semuanya yang ada di sini, karena beliaunya lagi bersama Sekjen EBU Ahmad Nadiem tidak bisa berhadir di sini, meminta saya untuk hadir di sini untuk memberikan salam kepada Ibu Dirjen dan Bapak Ibu semuanya. Terima kasih, selamat bereksistensi, berkreasi untuk membangun negeri secara bersama-sama. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Pak Mistam. You may remain on the stage, please. Would you please remain on the stage? Because the next agenda will be the token of appreciation that will be given from Pak Mistam to Ibu Dirjen. So I would like to kindly invite Ibu Dirjen to come forward on the stage, please. Bapak silahkan akan memberikan token of appreciation kepada Ibu Enia. Let's give a round of applause for this wonderful collaboration with Radio Republik Indonesia. Terima kasih, thank you Ibu Enia dan Pak Mistam. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have you all here for the opening session. And now let's continue to our first talk show session, which is entitled The Decarbonization of Cooling Sector in Indonesia. And I'm Alfie, thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.